Welcome back to another episode of the Choose954 Podcast, episode 117 with Daniel Gupta, our upcoming CreativeZen speaker here at our Zero Empty Spaces location in DCOTA, the Design Center of the Americas. If you didn't know about Choose954, myself, Evan Snow, and my business partner, Mr. Andrew Martineau, started a social movement to cultivate culture and community here in my native Broward County in an effort to keep people in the know with the great things that are going on, to make this a better place to live and not just a better place to vacation because we live here. The point of the podcast is to connect you with interesting people like him that have important stories worth sharing, and we're just going to give you a preview to his story ahead of his CreativeZen Talk where he'll share his full story on November the 14th. But without much further ado, Daniel, let's start at the beginning. What first sparked your connection and interest into the arts that led you on this path of arts advocacy and philanthropy and all the great work that you're doing in the world today?
So I came from the automotive and real estate fields, and I realized that one big part of my success were things that were completely out of my control. I was born in America, and I was born to good parents. And I was thinking, man, there are so many incredibly talented people out there in the world that don't get a fair shot. And the reason that it came down to art was I wanted to go out there myself and see what I could do to help people. But if you're trying to help an engineer or a chemist or a doctor or a lawyer, how can we do that? But art is tangible. Art is something where I could go somewhere and I could immediately see talent. It's storytelling. It's something that we could have a transaction. I could find an artist and say, oh, wow, this is your story. And I could pay them for what they do, and I could take their story. And so it initially sparked by the idea that there's so much incredible talent that don't have the ability to have their voices heard. And art was the tangible tool that I ended up using to find talent and share stories.
Amen. Kudos to you. You definitely have some stories worth sharing. What did that early travel, wanderlust, cultural curiosity kind of look like for you, and maybe how did you go from just like appreciating art and wanting to help art in theory to actually putting it into action and changing artists' lives?
Yeah, so the initial rundown was I just started buying one-way tickets and flying into developing countries. I wouldn't even get a hotel or place to stay. I would just figure my way as soon as I landed there, turned it into a little bit of an adventure, and I'd search the streets and I'd try to find artists. I would talk to people, and I ended up in all sorts of incredible communities, and I'd find artists, buy their artwork, and take their story. And what slowly started happening was when I would find these artists, I would say, hey, what can we do in your community to help? And then on top of buying the art, we would help in their community. Until, of course, I met Jonathan Espinosa.
And this story, rightfully so, deservedly so, is definitely worth sharing, and super talented within his own regards. But can you kind of tell us how that discovery and then the relationship that you built and then the incredible level of support has helped not only maybe change his life, but change lives in his community and communities beyond with the work that you're now doing today? We'll get into.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So same story with Espinosa. I was traveling throughout Nicaragua, and I found this incredible artist. I mean, collages, just what he does was unlike anything else I've ever seen. And I bought his artwork, and I asked him, hey, man, what can we do to help out here in the community? And he gave me a completely different answer. He said, let's build a playground. The kids don't have a place to play. And I just scratched my head. I was, how do we do that? He explained, I'm an engineer. I'm an architect. I can do it. And I had faith in this guy. I saw the fire in his eyes, and I said, okay, and I funded it. I came back a couple months later, and he built an incredible playground. There's kids crawling all over this thing, painted an enormous mural for this playground, and I mean, it just opened up my eyes to realize that these bigger projects are possible.
Amazing. Where in Nicaragua was this?
That was in Messiah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I believe our first playground was. The continuation is after I saw what he's capable of, I told him, all right, I'm going to hire you full time, and all you need to do is paint your wonderful art and then create these humanitarian projects. And from that point till last year, we completed 20 major humanitarian projects. We started with playgrounds, we started building school buildings, libraries, and then we realized that we can do these water projects where there's a lot of communities that don't have running water,
Right.
and we would build full systems to give them running water. We'd put a big pump in the ground, build a water tower, gravity feed it. Nothing fancy, but each house gets a line of water. So we did 20 major projects, and then I brought him and his family to the United States.
Amazing.
Now they're here.
Like literally changing him and his family's life, changing his community's lives, and now through the work that you're doing with the International Art Project, changing lives in other communities, other parts of the world, never would have even imagined. Could you tell us a little bit about IAP and what this project entails?
Yeah, absolutely. I looked at my life and the things that mattered most, and I realized that the impact that was created was the best part of my life, and I wanted to figure out a way to scale that. And so, I had incredible art, incredible artists, and I was thinking, how do we connect art and philanthropy in a way that can scale? And I found a problem. Evan, did you know that 90% of museums' collections sit in vaulted storage?
I believe it.
Most of the artwork that museums have never see the light of the day. Artists' voices are muted, and some of the most incredible art sits in storage. Almost all that artwork that they have is donated artwork.
Correct.
So what I realized is there is a serious problem in the system that we have with donated artwork. And what IAP is doing is we're creating a system where we take in donated artwork, but we don't just let it sit in storage. We sell the artwork to create impact in the local communities that IAP is located and in our international humanitarian projects as well. So it's a way to, for buyers, any piece of art that they buy will create impact. It carries another layer, a deeper story. And for the people that are donating their artwork, not only will they get legacy, but they'll get to know that their artwork meant something and helped change the world.
Literally. And you're right. Not just 90% of art in museum collections probably never see the light of day. Also, even in artist studios, if they're not going to sell all this work, oftentimes it just sits here and collects dust. So it's really interesting that you found a way and a mechanism and a vehicle to further amplify the impact and the change that you're looking to create in this world. And many people love art, but don't always know how to engage beyond attending an art show or an art fair or some experience or whatever that case may be. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start giving back, whether through collecting, philanthropy, or simply even just showing up?
What advice I would give somebody to get into the art world?
Yeah, and to support, or somebody maybe that wants to give back, but they don't know how, but maybe they just like art, kind of like you did. You stumbled into it. So what are some ways that, from your experience in your travels, maybe not to the extent that you've done, but ways that people could help?
Yeah, well, I read this question in two ways, Evan. And one is just the general concept with knowing how to give back in the world. And what I would tell you is start small. People often think
Correct.
that they look at certain things like these massive projects and like, oh, I can't do that, or maybe if I get to a certain point, then I can start giving back and doing philanthropy. But I highly disagree. I think that everybody and anybody can easily practice making huge, beautiful things happen in the world with such simple steps. If you make a practice of saying kind things to people, helping out with your time a little bit here and there, you will start to realize what the impact that you're doing
Correct.
creates, not only for the people that you're helping, but for yourself as well.
Correct.
And so it's something like we were talking about before, that if you practice something, you get better at. It's a skill set that you can develop in terms of giving back. So I would say, start small and watch how amazing it progresses.
Correct.
And not only you get to see what you do for other people, you'll see it come back to yourself.
Correct.
And that's really cool. And when it comes to art, I think it's the same thing. You can start small. If you're curious, explore. See what you like, see what feels right. And to play in art, it's not like you have to buy a blue chip piece or anything like that. But you can have something small and see, put it in your house and see if it emotionally changes you.
Correct.
Or charges you or gives you something or speaks to you, is an interesting conversation piece. There's so many different ways to interact or get involved with art. And the beautiful thing is there's so many incredible minds out there, and it's their way of putting their creative onto something physical that you can have in your space.
Correct.
It's so cool.
And there is a butterfly effect to it. There is an amplification effect to it, and there are ripples from these efforts. And you're right. When I initially got into art, when I discovered Winwood, and I just discovered this whole realm of modern street art that I didn't know existed, it changed me as a person. It changed my view of the world. It made me more cultured and obviously appreciative of the artist. And while at that time I did not have the means to support the artist monetarily, I was able to do what anybody and everybody's able to do with this cell phone, and I was able to post. And I was actually food blogging at that time back in the day, and then I kind of pivoted food blogging to arts and culture blogging, and I was highlighting these artists that I was building and forming relationships with just through initially my own personal social media, and then creating these digital platforms. And then eventually that, dotted line path led its way to us creating Zero Empty Spaces, where now we're taking these empty storefronts and showrooms and making art studios. So it is possible, and you're right, you don't have to jump all the way to the top. Everybody starts at zero. And thankfully, we are able to speak truthfully from experience how art has had a profound impact on both of our lives, and has prepared. That's why I appreciate you so much, and we both appreciate each other, that we're now working to give back and magnify and multiply the impact of the arts through these platforms that we're creating. And I'm so glad that we're able to connect and have this conversation, because we've seen art has such a power to connect people. How have you seen specifically collecting personally and supporting artists has deepened your understanding of community and culture, being a well-cultured individual like yourself?
I don't know exactly how well-cultured I am, but by the way, I loved your example that you said of when you saw art that you couldn't support them, but you shared it. And it's so true. I mean, exposure for these artists is so important. Correct. And it can be something so simple that launches you to, that showcases their art to that one other person. And what you've built here with Zero Empty Spaces is so incredible. I mean, 33 locations, and I'm honored to be in this one today. And what you're doing, the instrument that you're giving artists to not only have a space in a desirable area, but to be able to create the collaboration and create community within artists. Zero commissions.
Zero commission on sales.
You are the man, dude. So I'm super, super excited about watching this launch forward. And just to touch on one more thing with exposure, what we can do for artists as well is give them exposure through IAP. So IAP gives them a platinum or a platform. IAP gives them a platform in which they can use their creativity and turn it into impact.
Correct.
And what IAP can do in return is showcase them, showcase who they are, showcase where they can buy their art, and put them all across our platforms, on our website, through all our social medias, so they get exposure. And so it's a way for them
Correct.
to give back and expose themselves on a nationwide audience.
And international audience. A high level quality audience is also as you've reached a level of success in your career, now you're inspiring and inviting and incorporating other people of all walks of life and background that are interested in this work, either potentially monetarily or philanthropically, or people that just want to be involved and maybe donate art or attend or just want to see these missions come to life of bringing clean water. you downplayed the culture part, and I do want to give you a moment here just to share. You've had a very interesting background and upbringing. Can you speak maybe a little bit of how your father and your family has impacted your journey and your view of the world?
Yeah, I feel I hit the lottery with my parents. I have two incredible parents, very kind, sweet people. They're both philosophers. My father is from India. I'd love to. I could have a 30-minute talk with you about it, but he was born into poverty, and by the time he was 15 years old, he had a full ride scholarship to become a mechanical engineer for Rolls-Royce Aviation. Got sent to London, and then decided after going through that program to pursue philosophy. The guy has an incredible mind, and I really admire him. My mother was born in Israel, parents of Holocaust survivors. My grandpa was a concentration camp survivor, and she served in the Israeli army, and had just a tough upbringing, and then went into philosophy, came to the U.S., and they had me, and they've been such a great support system, and I'm so grateful to have them as my parents.
Both college professors?
They're both, yes.
At IU?
So they both were at IU. My mom still is at IU, Leah Savion, and then my father is at Pitt.
Nice.
Yeah, and his name is Anil Gupta.
And it's just beautiful to see how their worldview and experience and philosophy has now, it has trickled down and impacted to yourself, to your DNA, to the inner calling that was buried within you, that thankfully you were able to discover and you were able to unlock, and now you're able to bring to the world to scale this impact, which is so needed. And it's really, I don't think everybody understands, like, there has to be a conduit. There has to be somebody, some vehicle, some mechanism to bring these pieces together. And a lot of people just assume, like, oh, these things happen, or there's just like institutions that just, wave a magic wand and, magic and impact happens. But it doesn't happen like that. You literally, and I also give you a lot of credit and kudos, as we're both in similar, missions, and now, in the philanthropic space of building it from the ground up by yourself, and now you have some support coming into it, and building it with integrity, authentically, genuinely, for all the right reasons. You've been fortunate enough to have success, and now you're giving back, which I give you a lot of kudos and credit for. So now that you've been able to do a couple projects, multiple projects, not a couple, what impact are you the most proud of so far, and kind of what do you see as your next frontier with IAP in terms of the work and the mission and the projects that you're bringing to life?
Yeah. So since IAP's inception, which was very, very recently, we have been able to complete multiple projects through the sale of artwork. We've created impact. So a couple of them, there was a project in Niger where we gave 75 women their own jobs. Created entrepreneurship, gave them their own machines, and they're able to process agriculturally, and it just turned around their economy completely. We've just completed a water project for 3,000 people, gave them running water, all powered through donated art, and we are this close right now to completing a water project for 6,000 people. It's really hard to comprehend some of these things for us, such as what's it like to not have clean running water. It's something that's, we take for granted so easily, and it's something that was so eye-opening to me when I was traveling around and doing these projects and getting to see it gave me so much gratitude and a new understanding and appreciation of what matters and what doesn't. It seems silly, after I go into these communities that, I could come and have like a serious complaint or talk to you about how my flight was delayed an hour.
First world problems.
Oh, exactly. And you know what else is crazy? This water project that we're doing, it costs us like $5 or $6 per person to give them clean water. It's a Starbucks, dude.
Right.
A Starbucks can change somebody's life.
Communities.
It's unbelievable to think about. And one of the things that I noticed just on my personal, growing up through this is when you participate and when you do these projects, and I think it's so important to be able to truly see and understand the impact, not just cut a check and did that happen? I don't get it, but
Sure.
to truly see and understand the impact that you're creating, something that you will never regret spending your money on.
100%.
You buy a watch, a car, this or that, whatever. At the end of the day, you'll get tired. It's exciting at first, and then it's like whatever. But these impact projects, if me and you, Evan, if we get together and we build a playground together, we'll have that for the rest of our lives, and we'll always look fondly.
100%. And you don't. It's not even about like having your name on a building or on a plaque or on a playground. And also, I mean, sure, cutting a check to, let's just say, the American Red Cross. Are you helping? Certainly you're helping. And certainly they have a great mission and a ton of overhead and a ton of employees. But are you ever going to really see the tangible impact of the donation to the American Red Cross? Yeah. Probably not. But with stuff like this, you can tangibly see and touch and interact with those people in those communities. And I mean, you talk about exposure, far beyond just the exposure. I mean, like literally changing the quality, the health, the life expectancy of some of these communities. Exposure also too, not to discredit, and exposure is kind of a funny thing in art because we say artists can't need exposure, but they obviously also want and need exposure. And my travel to these places is not as extensive as yours, but I know, like, from my experience going to Guatemala and even like Lake Atitlan, like going and supporting an artist living in these little villages that are only accessible via boat, like they're able to not just go buy more art supplies, but they're able to continue feeding themselves, their family, pursuing their lives, their livelihoods. And you taking a photo, posting on social media, hopefully purchasing something from them can literally change the lives, as you've been able to do with Espinosa and countless other artists. And also, while this has been recent under IAP, you've been doing this work personally for years. It's just now you have the nonprofit. Right. So if somebody wants to get involved and support the International Art Project, what are some ways and what are some of the events that you have coming up that they can check out and attend?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, you can follow us. We're International Art Project on Instagram. You should be able to find us on all the social medias. And then our website is internationalartproject.org. So really exciting, man. Art Basel. We will have a huge presentation in the Weem Museum. That's in Miami on the corner of 12th and Washington. And
the Erotic Art Museum, for those that are not familiar.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to be presenting all of these major ideas. And I kind of skipped over the question earlier, but our goal is to put an IAP in all major cities. Because, I mean, why not have this new art model, a model where you could go and every single piece of art that you buy, you will be able to exactly see the impact that you created. It comes with the piece. You will be able to tell how you've changed the world.
Amen.
Yeah.
So you have the Weem, and then there's a couple others there, and then it's Miami Art Week, and then some of them are before Miami Art Week. So kind of run through the upcoming calendar.
Well, yeah. So some of this is going to not be IAP. Now everything is IAP related that I do, but IAP is the nonprofit, and then we have the Elysian Art Collection, and that is a collection of art that I've been collecting for 17 years. Multiple of these artists we've employed full-time, incredible artists. Jonathan Espinosa, like we discussed, Yuri Lohmuller, Adina Lohmuller, there's Ricardo Maya, a ton of absolutely incredible artists. We will be at Red Dot and Spectrum, so we will have places there, and in the Jason Perez Collective, and then at Bar Tulio's, this incredible restaurant in Wynwood, we will have a full showcase for Jonathan Espinosa. We're going to have a big exclusive event on Saturday, the 29th. That's right before
of November.
Yeah, Saturday, 29th of November, and that is, right before the Miami Art Week Basel kicks off. So it'll be an incredible event. It'll be supporting IAP. You'll get to check out Espinosa. He's hitting the big stage for the first time, and it's so exciting for all these artists that we're representing. And
deservedly so. Very talented. I know he's also going to have some other really interesting activations, cocktails, and a bunch of other things that are worth checking out.
Oh yeah, no, of course he's going to have his own named cocktail there. It's going to be an off-menu food. These hors d'oeuvres. It's going to be a high-level thing. You're going to also be supporting the world and our new art model when you come.
Amen. So that's November 29th.
Yes.
Miami Art Week is the first week in December. Yes. The Red Dot and Spectrum show is at the Mana Convention Center in the heart of Wynwood.
I think it starts Wednesday.
So it starts Wednesday through Sunday.
Yep.
If you want a ticket, if you don't know a friend that can give you a promo code, reach out to us. There's tons of promo codes to help you get free tickets to Red Dot and Spectrum. That's all, a common inside art thing if you want to check it out. And there's thousands of artists, thousands of pieces of artwork at Red Dot and Spectrum, but this one has a little bit extra meaning to it, so certainly encourage you to check it out. And then, as we previously alluded to, Daniel will be sharing his thought-provoking, inspiring story as part of our CreativeZen monthly breakfast lecture series, a mini TED Talk that we host every second Friday morning of the month. So Daniel's going to share as our next speaker, Friday, November the 14th. The doors open at 8:30. The talk starts at 9. We're out of there by 10. This event was where I initially received my aha moment from some inspiration I received from a talk almost 10 years ago now that ended up changing the course of my life, my community, and hopefully the world through the work that we're doing now with Zero Empty Spaces and placemaking, which is why I pay it back and pay it forward and continue to host these free events. It's going to be here at the DCOTA, the Design Center of the Americas, 1855 Griffin Road in Dania Beach in the heart of Broward County near the airport. Free event, coffee, community vibes. I lead a guided meditation or sound bowl exercise to help everybody, including our speaker, get into a little bit more grounded Zen state. So that's CreativeZen. And then we'll have the Miami Art Week. You'll have the Weem. You have Bartulio's. If they'd like to follow you separately on social media, you're a pretty interesting follow. Where can I find you and even the Elysian?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Instagram, it's DSavvy. That's DSAVVYG. That's my Instagram. My name is Daniel Gupta, so you can find me on Facebook or whatever. And for Elysian, it's Elysian, ELYSIAN, Art Collection. And you can find us all across social media there. And thank you so much for your support, by the way.
Amen. Every little bit helps. This is not common, and this is not an everyday thing that a collector, a patron of the arts, collects artists just to the level that you have where your collection now has over 1,000 pieces of art.
Yes.
But then to the point that this young man took it upon himself, nobody forced you or told you had to do this, to employ and support these artists to the point that now they literally have had their lives changed, being able to focus on their craft, being able to focus on the arts, being able to do mural projects and art projects and work with you. So to close on some inspiration, what's one story or experience that's reaffirmed your belief in the importance of supporting artists and creative communities?
There are so many people that are so talented, but don't have the ability to showcase their voices and showcase their talents. Just because you're an incredible artist doesn't mean that you know how to do business or be able to get your word out. A lot of them might be introverted or this or that, and for me to be able to find these incredible minds that didn't have the opportunity to make something big. Espinosa is truly a showcase. I mean, we have a guy here that could build entire water systems for communities, build playgrounds, build schools, collect people, create incredible murals, incredible art, and he had no opportunity. And the fact that a little push like this from me can set off, such incredible things in the world is a showcase of why one should or if you have the ability to help out in ways like that. And Yuri Lomuller and Adina, oh my God, it's insane. It's just some of the for me, some of the best artists in the world, and they don't have a stage to stand on. And so to be able to build that, and also, obviously, I'm so interested in, any piece of their artwork is going to create impact in the world.
Literally.
And so, and that's what we will do with the Elysian Art Collection. Any piece you buy, you're going to be shifting in a better direction, the world.
It's a beautiful thing that came from one-way plane tickets, and your wanderlust, your desire for exploration, and your desire to travel, and obviously with the pure heart and the right intention and the right and open mindset. I mean, and if you haven't been to a place like Nicaragua or Guatemala or some of these, places, right, like literally did not have the opportunity. The opportunity does not exist.
Does not exist.
And fortunately, there's good people in the world like yourself, and some of our other former speakers. Adam Dolly's been doing this in Central America as well, a former speaker, that take it upon themselves to create these platforms and then not just create it, but like actually amplify the impact, bring them to life, and then you're not keeping it a secret. You're sharing, and now you're inspiring others, and it really is inspiring. And that is why I'm so glad to have you here on the podcast, have you share your story, because you are now legitimately influencing, inspiring the next wave and generation of philanthropy, of art collecting, of giving back, of advocating for art, and patronizing art. And that's just on the art side, let alone the accessibility to the clean water side, which is needed more places than we can name on this podcast, that need access to clean water, just with the situation in the world. So I give you tremendous credit and kudos. Super grateful that you decided to, and you split your time still in Bloomington, Indiana, and here in South Florida, but somehow you decided to choose South Florida. And we initially connected when you were doing the launch on Las Olas a little bit earlier this year. Yeah. We did record this podcast before, and unfortunately I used the wrong cable and the audio didn't record, but it ended up, everything happened for a reason. For sure. Because now we have even more to talk about.
It's way better. I'm super grateful for it. No, I'm glad that we got to do this again, and Yeah,
and now have you share here at DCOTA. So if you like inspiration, if you like TED Talks, if you like people changing the world, save the date to join us November the 14th here at the Design Center of the Americas, the DCOTA in Dania Beach, to hear his story, meet him in person. We've got 24 super talented artist studios here at this location in DCOTA, our 33rd location. They have their Open Studios event every third Friday of the month, so it's actually going to be this Friday coming up here, where we encourage more of the artists to be present. This space is open daily between 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, so you can find some super talented artists here at the DCOTA. Everybody has different styles. And then, plenty other good stuff, classes, workshops, potlucks. We're working with Chase to do financial literacy for our aspiring, for the creatives and their entrepreneurs, small business owners themselves. So working to bring in other people. We've brought in attorneys to talk about the importance of IP and contracts and things that, maybe artists just aren't thinking about, having agreements. Brought in my teacher, coach, and guru, my yoga teacher, Chloe Ravel, the Gemini Rising, to talk about burnout and going from burnout to balance, because you can't pour from an empty cup, let alone create. So we're super glad to leverage this platform here to not only give the artists, to your point, opportunity to create, collaborate, get discovered, show, and sell, but then further their journey, further their career, if that's what they want it to be. And I'm excited that, now that we're putting our heads together, we're going to give the artists an opportunity to be a part of the IAP.
For sure.
Especially so many of them that just have artwork that never is going to see the light of day for various reasons. Not going to sell everything you ever create unless you're, Kinde Wiley. But I think we're going to be able to do some beautiful things in the world, in Bloomington and South Florida, beyond.
Man. For sure. And this is my first time here. If you haven't been to the DCOTA Center and seen this space, it is incredible. I think you should do a little walk around so they can see so many great artists are here, and it's so cool. So yeah, for sure.
And you've seen a lot of art.
I've seen a lot of art. Yeah, no, it's exciting. This community that you built here, I'm pumped up about it. Makes me want to help you fire up some more of these. And
Amen.
Yeah, it's a really good thing.
Let's do it.
And if you guys like this stuff, if this is impactful to you, sharing it means the world. You know, it's amazing. You know, just one small finger click can get this to the right person that's like, oh yeah, I see the light in that, and let's do cool shit together. If you like it, reach out, hit me up anytime. I'm trying to do cool shit and make the world a better place. Love artists and love creating impact.
One more time, website and your email address.
Okay, so I am Daniel at internationalartproject.org. You can find IAP at www.internationalartproject.org and ElysianArtCollection.com. Yeah, hit us up.
ELYSIAN.
You got it.
Okay. It's a good one. It's a good story.
Oh, thanks. Oh, hey, by the way, guys, if you want to see some cool stuff, check out premiumandexotic.com. That's my big truck company that funded all this stuff and got the art and philanthropy going.
Yes, you do.
We sell big trucks.
Yes, you do. Hey, listen, however you get there, somebody's got to pay the bills. You know, these things don't just happen, automatically. But thankfully, once again, a true testament from your hard work, from your success, you are now able to give back and now creating platforms and opportunities for others to give back and further the impact and mission. So can't thank you enough. If any of this resonated, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm an open book at EvansSnow13, at Choose954, at Zero Empty Spaces. Would love to hear why you choose 954. And actually, that's the last question we like to wrap up with here on the podcast.
What's up, man?
How and why did you choose the 954, and how did you end up here in
Handsome Devil doing incredible things? I mean, how could I not be a part of this podcast?
But before we met, how did you end up getting into deciding Broward County and deciding to do your kickoff event on Las Olas?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I live in Indiana. Okay, so we had to get out of there somewhere. We have this whole thing called winter, which isn't amazing like it is down here. It's got the snow and the hail and all that stuff. And so Spirit Airlines can fly you down from Indiana to Fort Lauderdale for $60. It just made a lot of sense. I just wanted to open up the horizon, meet new people, and be able to do cool shit.
And you're doing cool shit. So join us. Hope to see you during Miami Art Week. Hope to see you for his CreativeZen Talk, November the 14th. Log on to the website, log on to social media, check them out. And we're always looking for more guests on the podcast, more people to share their thought-provoking, inspiring story at CreativeZen. So don't hesitate to reach out to me at EvansSnow13. Choose954 at unitedgroup.com is the email address. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
See you guys.